There's a hidden danger unfolding right now, one almost nobody is paying attention to. It's happening quietly, behind the noise, and by the time most people notice, it'll already be too late. Some of the most critical survival items are set to disappear before January 2026, and the public has no clue what's coming. I'm going to show you exactly what's happening and why certain items will vanish faster than anything else once the next shock hits. And trust me, item number 4 on this list is the one even seasoned preppers overlook, and that blind spot could cost them everything. You're not going to hear this on the news, and stores definitely aren't warning you. But I've been tracking these signals for years. What I'm about to reveal is information most people never get to hear until it's far too late. Number 1, coffee and tea. When an economic collapse hits, the first thing people notice is the chaos outside the empty shelves. The silent ATMs, the rising tension in every face you pass. But what most people fail to realize is that the real battle begins inside your own mind. When routines break, when the world feels unstable, and when every day becomes a test of endurance, your mental resilience becomes just as important as the food in your pantry. That's why something as simple as coffee and teadoms, most people dismiss as luxuries, suddenly turn into survival lifelines. These aren't just drinks, they're psychological anchors that keep you grounded when the rest of the world is shaking. Think about what happens during a crisis. Sleep schedules fall apart, stress shoots through the roof, and the body goes into survival mode. In moments like that, caffeine becomes more than a habit, it becomes a tool. A warm cup of coffee or tea can snap you out of panic, help you stay alert during long nights, and keep your mind sharp when decisions matter most. And in a collapsing economy where every choice carries weight, staying focused isn't optional, it's survival. Coffee and tea help maintain that clarity, especially when daily life becomes unpredictable. Then there's the morale factor. When you lose access to normal comforts or favorite snacks, a warm home, the ability to go out whenever you please, the smallest familiar ritual becomes priceless. Brewing a cup of coffee or steeping a tea bag is a moment of control, a moment of calm, a reminder that normalcy isn't completely gone. It counteracts the fear, the uncertainty, and the emotional burnout that can destroy your resolve. In a long-term collapse, morale isn't a bonus, it's fuel. It keeps you moving, it keeps you thinking, it keeps you human. Let's talk practicality, because survival isn't just emotional, it's logistical. Coffee and tea are incredibly lightweight, compact, and shelf-stable. Instant coffee packets or tea bags require no refrigeration, no special equipment, and almost no space. You can hide them in a go bag, glove compartment, jacket pocket anywhere. They last for years, and you only need hot water, something you can produce over a small fire, camp stove, or even a heated rock in an emergency. That kind of versatility matters when resources are tight and you're juggling priorities. But here's a side of collapse survival people rarely think about: barter economy. When cash becomes worthless and people start trading goods for necessities, luxury items become extremely valuable. A single pack of instant coffee can trade for batteries, fire starters, canned goods, or even safe passage if the situation is desperate enough. Coffee and tea hold emotional value, and during crisis, emotional value becomes currency. People will trade for comfort, for familiarity, for the feeling of normal life. Having a stash of these items turns you from vulnerable to valuable. Even herbal teas become powerful tools: peppermint for stomach issues, chamomile for sleep, green tea for energy. These aren't luxury flavors. They're functional remedies when pharmacies are empty and medical access is questionable. So while everyone else is grabbing the basics: rice, beans, canned supu lb, the one with something they didn't think about: the ability to stay calm, alert, human, and prepared. Coffee and tea aren't optional in an economic collapse. They are morale, medicine, motivation, and money all in one lightweight package. And if you don't secure them before things fall apart, you'll feel that loss more deeply than you expect. Number 2, salt and seasonings. When an economic collapse drags on, the food you have won't be gourmet. It won't be exciting. Most days it will be the same rotation of simple, shelf-stable staples: rice, grains, grained meat, whatever you managed to stock before prices exploded and store shelves emptied out. And here's the problem: Eating the same bland meals day after day destroys your morale faster than hunger itself. That's why salt and seasonings aren't optional. They are essential survival tools that keep your body functioning, your appetite alive, and your mental strength intact. Let's start with the most underrated survival item on the planet, salt. People treat salt like an afterthought because it's cheap and everywhere until it's not. In a collapse, grocery stores stop restocking, supply chains break, and suddenly salt becomes rare, valuable, and almost impossible to replace. Your body needs salt to survive. It helps regulate fluids, supports muscle function, keeps your nerves firing, and prevents dangerous electrolyte imbalances. In a high-stress environment, where you're sweating more, working harder, and conserving every calorie, you lose salt much faster than you think. Without enough of it, you won't just feel weak, you'll make mistakes, lose focus, and put yourself in real danger. But the survival value of salt goes beyond physiology. Salt transforms food, turning bland calories into meals that you actually want to eat. And in a crisis, appetite becomes a survival factor. If food tastes bad, and you lose the will to eat, you stop getting the energy your body desperately needs. A person who eats consistently will always outlast someone who picks at food because everything tastes like cardboard. Salt fixes that instantly, making even the simplest pot of rice or beans feel edible again. Then we move to seasonings, the secret weapon of long-term survival. Garlic powder, onion powder, dried herbs, black pepper, cayenne, curry powder. These tiny containers hold the power to turn a monotonous survival diet into something comforting and familiar. That comfort has psychological weight. When the world outside is unstable, having a meal that tastes like home can give you the emotional reset you need to push through another day. Seasonings also have health benefits that matter even more during crisis. Cayenne boosts circulation and warmth. Garlic powder has antibacterial effects. Black pepper aids digestion. Dried herbs provide micronutrients missing from basic survival foods. These aren't gourmet luxuries. They're functional tools that support your body when medical care may be limited or unavailable. From a storage standpoint, salt and seasonings are gold. They're cheap, lightweight, compact, and shelf-stable for years. You don't need refrigeration, special containers, or large space. A small bag of salt lasts months, maybe years, depending on your usage. And spices? A handful of small jars can season hundreds of meals. But the real hidden value comes when the economy collapses and a barter system replaces currency. Historically, salt was used as literal currency. It was that valuable. Imagine being able to trade a tablespoon of salt for a can of soup or a pack of matches when others are stuck eating unseasoned, tasteless meals. Flavor becomes a form of power. Comfort becomes a commodity. Salt and seasonings do more than improve meals. They multiply the value of every survival food you already have. Without them, long-term survival becomes miserable. With them, it becomes manageable. And in a world filled with stress and uncertainty, the ability to make food taste good might just be the advantage that keeps you steady when everyone else is falling apart. Number 3, versatile survival grains when an economic collapse hits full force. The first thing that disappears from shelves isn't luxury food, it's calories. People panic by pasta, rice, bread, cereal, anything that fills the stomach fast and cheap. And when supply chains freeze, those shelves don't refill. That's why grains, quinoa, barley, millet, and other long shelf-life staples become the backbone of real survival. These foods don't just keep you fed, they keep your energy stable, your body strong, and your pantry efficient. If you want to survive a long-term crisis, versatile grains are your calorie insurance policy. In a collapse, you won't have the luxury of fresh meats, constant grocery runs, or food variety. Your body will be under stress, hauling water, rationing fuel, moving supplies, staying alert. And under that stress, you burn calories faster than during normal life. This is where carbs become your best ally. Forget diet trends. In survival mode, carbohydrates are your body's fastest, most reliable fuel source. They help preserve protein in your muscles, stabilize energy, and prevent the fatigue that leads to mistakes that can cost you your safety. Let's start with quinoa, one of the most powerful grains you can store. It's one of the rare plant-based foods that's a complete protein containing all 9 essential amino acids. That matters when meat becomes scarce and expensive in an economic collapse. Quinoa cooks fast, about 15 minutes, saving precious fuel and time. It's versatile, nutritious, and easy to store for years if kept dry. In crisis mode, quick cooking time alone makes quinoa a survival win. Next is barley, a true powerhouse in long-term emergencies. Barley is hearty, filling, and incredibly flexible. You can turn it into soups, stews, breakfast bowls, or use it like rice. Unlike many grains, barley holds its texture well, giving meals a satisfying bite that feels substantial when food variety is limited. It's rich in fiber, keeps you full longer, helps regulate blood sugar, critical during times when you're re-rationing food and trying to stretch meals as far as possible. Barley might not be flashy, but in crisis, it's dependable, durable, and comforting. Then there's millet, one of the most underrated survival grains. Millet grows in some of the harshest, driest conditions in the world. That resilience translates into your pantry. It's naturally gluten-free, cooks quickly, and works as both a savory and sweet option. In the morning, it can be a porridge. Later, it can thicken soups. And at night, it can be mixed with herbs or seasonings into a filling side dish. In an unstable economy, resilience matters, and millet represents that resilience in food form. But the real power of grains becomes clear when you look at storage. They're compact, stackable, lightweight when dry, and capable of lasting for years if stored in oxygen-sealed containers or buckets. One 5-gallon bucket of grains can feed a family for weeks. That's not just food, that's security, consistency, and peace of mind when everything else feels unpredictable. Grains also work like a force multiplier. Add a spoon of oil, a dash of seasoning, a handful of canned chicken, or some powdered milk, and suddenly you've transformed a simple grain into a complete morale-lifting meal. They stretch other ingredients, save money, and increase your ability to ration. And let's not forget barter value. When neighbors are living off instant noodles, having buckets of quinoa, barley, or millet gives you leverage. Positions you not as a victim of collapse, but as someone who can help, trade, or support in your terms. Grains are more than survival food, they're a foundation. They give you the calories, stability, and strength you'll need when the economy falls apart. Without them, every other item in your pantry becomes weaker. With them, you create a food system that can carry you through weeks, months, or even years of instability. Number 4, shelf-stable proteins. When the economy collapses and the power grid becomes unreliable or completely fails, one of the first things you lose is refrigeration. Suddenly, all the food people normally depend on, fresh meat, dairy, eggs, turns into a ticking time bomb of spoilage. In those moments, protein becomes one of the rarest and most valuable nutrients you can secure. Your body needs it to stay strong, alert, and functional, especially when stress levels are high and every day demands energy, focus, and physical effort. That's why shelf-stable proteins become the cornerstone of real survival, the difference between staying capable or becoming dangerously weak. Let's start with one of the most reliable, overlooked survival champions, canned chicken. Fully cooked, ready to eat, high in protein, and completely safe at room temperature, canned chicken is the ultimate crisis meat. No thawing, no refrigeration, no complicated cooking. You can toss it into grains, soups, or eat it straight from the can if fuel is limited. In an economic collapse, the simplicity and safety of canned chicken are priceless. More importantly, each can represent steady energy and long-lasting strength, something you cannot afford to lose when conditions are unstable. Next is an item many people ignore, but smart survivors swear by: shelf-stable tofu. Packaged properly, tofu can last months without refrigeration, making it one of the best plant-based proteins for emergencies. It's a complete protein, versatile, and absorbs flavors easily. In a world where meat prices skyrocket and availability plummets, tofu becomes a dependable replacement you can cook with minimal fuel. It works in soups, stir-fries, or mashed as a protein-packed spread. And unlike canned meats, it's lightweight, perfect for bug-out bags or mobile survival setups. Then there's the lifesaver of all preppers: protein powder. When you don't have time or resources to cook, protein powder gives you instant nutrition using just water. No heat, no fuel, no cleanup. One scoop can stabilize blood sugar, reduce fatigue, and keep your muscles from breaking down under stress. You can mix it into oatmeal, grains, powdered milk, or even drink it alone. Look for high-quality whey, soy, or pea protein, without added sugars or fillers. In a crisis, purity matters more than flavor. Protein powder is also incredibly compact, allowing you to store months' worth of protein in a small space. But the most underrated survival protein might be dehydrated bean flakes. Unlike traditional dried beans that take hours of boiling and valuable fuel, bean flakes rehydrate almost instantly. That means you can have a high-protein meal in minutes, even with limited cooking capabilities. They're packed with fiber, essential minerals, and the kind of slow-burning energy that helps you stay steady during long periods of uncertainty. Bean flakes also stretch meals. Mix them into soups, tortillas, or grains to instantly boost calories and nourishment. Why is all this so important? Because in a collapse, your body becomes your greatest asset. Weakness leads to mistakes. Mistakes lead to danger. Without enough protein, your immune system collapses, your energy crashes, and your mental clarity fades. Illness becomes more likely, wounds heal slower, and simple tasks feel overwhelming. Shelf-stable protein protects you from all of that, and let's not ignore the barter value. Protein is one of the most sought-after items in any crisis. People will trade batteries, tools, candles even, labor, for a single can of meat or a small bag of protein powder. Owning it gives you leverage, influence, and options at a time when most people have none. Protein isn't just a survival item, it's power. It keeps you stable, strong, and ready to face whatever the collapse throws at you. With it, you're prepared. Without it, you're vulnerable. Number 5. Multi-purpose cooking oils when an economic collapse drags on. One truth becomes painfully clear. Survival isn't just about what you store, it's about what you can actually cook. You can have grains, proteins, seasonings, and all the right tools, but without a reliable fat source to cook with, your meals become dry, bland, and nutritionally incomplete. That's where multi-purpose cooking oils become one of the most important items in your entire survival pantry. These oils don't just make food taste better, they provide crucial calories, versatility, and practical uses that most people overlook until it's far too late. Let's start with one of the best long-term oils you can store: refined coconut oil. This oil is a survival powerhouse. It's incredibly shelf-stable, often lasting years without going rancid, especially when kept in a cool, dark place. In a collapsing economy, where restocking becomes unpredictable and fresh food disappears, an oil that doesn't spoil becomes priceless. Every single tablespoon contains around 120 calories, making it one of the fastest and most efficient ways to boost your daily energy intake. When you're rationing food and working harder than usual hauling water, cooking with limited fuel, staying alert, those extra calories matter more than you think. Coconut oil also has a high smoke point, which means you can fry, saute, or cook most foods without choking your shelter with smoke. It works for everything from pan-frying vegetables to crisping up canned meats, and even baking if you're using a solar cooker or small oven. But its real hidden value: it can be turned into an emergency candle. If the power grid fails and you're sitting in total darkness, a jar of coconut oil with a makeshift wick can give you hours of light that could help you cook, navigate your home safely, or simply keep fear at bay during long, quiet nights. Another top-tier survival oil is avocado oil, known for its neutral flavor and extremely high smoke point. In a crisis, you don't want fussy oils that burn easily or taste odd. You want something that works in every meal, whether you're cooking grains, frying fish from a river, or drizzling over vegetables for extra calories. Avocado oil is calorie-dense, heart-healthy, and versatile enough to replace multiple other kitchen oils. In a world where supply chains crumble and choices shrink, versatility becomes king. Now, here's something most people forget. Fat is the most calorie-dense macronutrient you can store, packing more than double the calories of carbs or protein per gram. When the economy collapses and hard physical labor becomes part of your daily routine, your body needs high-energy foods. Cooking oils give you a concentrated, compact energy source that stretches your meals, keeps you full, and prevents dangerous weight loss during long-term crises. A single small bottle can add thousands of calories to your pantry without taking up much space. Cooking oils are also incredibly useful outside the kitchen. Need a fire starter? A bit of oil on cloth ignites easily? Got a squeaky hinge giving away your location or attracting attention? A few drops can silence it instantly? Minor wounds? Oil can act as a barrier to protect them temporarily until proper care is available. These small advantages matter more than you can imagine when the world is unstable. One of the smartest strategies is storing oils in small containers. If you can't refrigerate an opened bottle during a blackout, you won't lose an entire jug to spoilage. Smaller bottles allow smarter rationing, easier trading, and less waste. Cooking oils are more than ingredients, they're survival tools. They add flavor, create meals, provide calories, build fires, give light, and open up your cooking options when resources are limited. In an economic collapse, having a stockpile of versatile oils can mean the difference between barely scraping by and staying strong, nourished, and in control. Number 6. Long shelf life water. When an economic collapse spirals into infrastructure failure, there's one resource that becomes more valuable than gold, fuel, or even food: water. You can go weeks without solid meals, but only a few days without hydration. And yet, water is the resource people underestimate the most. They assume the taps will keep running, the city will keep pumping, and their plastic store-bought bottles will last forever. But in a long-term collapse, when municipal systems break down, pumps lose power, supply chains freeze, and contamination spreads, water becomes the first and most terrifying vulnerability. That's why long shelf life water is not just important. It is the foundation of your entire survival plan. The truth is brutal. When the grid fails, so does the water system. Municipal pumps rely on electricity to move water through pipes, filter stations, and treatment facilities. Without power, pressure drops, taps sputter, and suddenly the most basic human need becomes uncertain. Even well systems aren't immune. Most household wells depend on electric pumps. People learn this too late, standing over a silent faucet with no backup plan. In a real collapse, this is where panic begins. This is why long shelf life water products like Aqua Blocks, Bluekin Water, and other emergency-grade sealed water options becomes your lifeline. These aren't ordinary plastic bottles that degrade, leak chemicals, or grow bacteria over time. They're engineered to last 5 to 50 years, depending on the brand and packaging. That means you can store them and literally forget about them until the day you need them. No plastic taste, no microplastics leaching, no worrying about storage temps. Just clean, safe, ready-to-use water in a crisis. Think about what that means during an economic collapse. The power grid goes out, the water plants shut down, the stores are empty within hours. Everyone rushes to buy water jugs, buckets, and bottles, but you open a closet, a drawer, a bin under your bed, and there it is, your own private reservoir, untouched and reliable. That's not luck, that's preparedness. Let's get real about the numbers. At minimum, one person needs 1 gallon of water per day, just for drinking. But that doesn't include cooking grains, rehydrating food, making tea or powdered milk, washing hands, cleaning small wounds, or basic hygiene. In reality, a family of 4 can burn through 4 to 7 gallons a day, even when rationing. Multiply that by a week, and you quickly see how impossible it is to rely on last-minute shopping or low-quality store bottles. This is why long shelf life water comes in stackable, durable, discreet packaging that stores easily and protects your supply from damage or attention. In a desperate environment, visible cases of water can make you a target. But sealed, box-shaped water containers hide in plain sight, tucked in closets, under beds, behind furniture, giving you the ultimate advantage: security through invisibility. Long life water also handles extreme temperatures better than typical bottles. Whether your shelter gets ice cold or blistering hot, the sealed metallized containers keep water stable, safe, and drinkable. No guessing, no filtering, no boiling, no hoping the tap comes back on. And here's the harsh truth. Even if you have a filter or purification tablets, you still need a supply of clean water to start with. In a collapse, local rivers, lakes, or rain barrels can be contaminated with chemicals, sewage, or industrial runoff. Filters help, but they don't fix everything. Having emergency-grade water buys you time to think, time to plan, time to survive. During long-term collapse, every other survival item depends on one thing: your ability to stay hydrated and keep your family safe. Your grains, your protein, your seasonings, they all require water. Without it, your entire stockpile collapses. Water isn't just part of survival. It is survival. Long shelf-life water gives you certainty in a world where certainty disappears overnight, and the systems fail and the panic begins. Those who prepared with long-lasting water won't be scrambling. They'll be surviving. Number 7. Powdered milk and alternatives, when an economic collapse stretches from days into weeks. And from weeks into months, the food you have must do more than simply fill your stomach. It must stretch, transform, and support your body in ways ordinary staples cannot. That's where powdered milk and long-lasting milk alternatives become absolute game changers. Most people overlook them, assuming milk is just a breakfast item or something for kids. But when shelves are empty, refrigeration is gone, and prices skyrocket, powdered milk becomes one of the most powerful, versatile, and morale-saving tools in your entire survival pantry. Milk isn't just a beverage. It's a nutritional powerhouse. Protein, calcium, vitamins, fats, all in a form that enhances nearly every other survival food you own. During economic collapse, these nutrients vanish fast from regular diets. Fresh dairy becomes rare, expensive, and impossible to store without power. Even ultra-pasteurized milk spoils quickly once opened. But powdered milk flips that script completely. Properly sealed, it can last 2 to 20 years, depending on packaging. That's not just shelf stability, that's long-term food security. Think about what powdered milk actually gives you in a crisis. It can turn a bowl of plain grains into a creamy, energy-rich porridge. It can transform instant potatoes into a filling, satisfying meal. It can turn a handful of dry cereal into a morale-boosting breakfast that brings normalcy back into a chaotic world. When collapse strips away comfort, these small wins become psychological lifelines, especially for children, the elderly, or anyone struggling with the emotional weight of uncertainty. Powdered milk also plays a crucial role in baking and cooking, particularly if you have a solar oven, rocket stove, or small camp setup. Bread, biscuits, pancakes, does many of these become far more nutritious and palatable when powdered milk is added. In a crisis where every calorie matters, powdered milk becomes a force multiplier, enriching cheap, simple ingredients so that your food lasts longer and satisfies more. But what if you're lactose intolerant or want plant-based options? That's where oat milk powder and coconut milk powder step in. These alternatives often last just as long, offer essential calories, provide cooking versatility that fresh plant milks cannot match. Coconut milk powder is especially powerful in survival cooking. It adds fats, flavor, and richness to soups, stews, or rice dishes. Those fats are vital when you're burning more calories each day, just trying to stay warm, gather supplies, or manage daily tasks without modern conveniences. Beyond nutrition, there's another side people don't talk about: lightweight portability. Unlike water, canned goods, or large pantry staples, powdered milk is incredibly easy to pack and carry. One small container can create gallons of milk. That means if you're forced to relocate because of shortages, violence, or worsening conditions, you can take high-value nutrition with you without adding bulk or weight. In a world where every ounce matters, this advantage is priceless. There's also barter value. In any collapse, families with children will desperately want milk, something familiar, comforting, and nutritionally dense. A single sealed bag of powdered milk can trade for canned meat, batteries, medical supplies, or fuel. Its emotional value alone makes it a powerful currency in hard times. Powdered milk and its alternatives aren't just optional survival items, they are strategic assets. They fill nutritional gaps, amplify every other food you store, boost morale, support children and adults alike, and provide a long-lasting source of comfort and strength. In a collapsing economy, where every item must earn its place in your pantry, powdered milk rises to the top as one of the smartest, most adaptable, and most valuable preps you can invest in. In the end, powdered milk represents what true preparedness is all about: not just surviving, but staying resilient, maintaining nutrition, and keeping a sense of normal life alive even when the world around you feels anything but normal. In an economic collapse, survival doesn't belong to the lucky, it belongs to the prepared. Every item you stock, every decision you make today, becomes a shield for tomorrow. Hope alone won't protect you, but action will. You now know the 7 essentials that can keep your family fed, strong, and steady when the world slips into chaos. Don't wait for shelves to empty or systems to fail. Start building your survival foundation right now. Take one step today, then another tomorrow, and turn uncertainty into security before it's too late.